Howdy YouTubers, it is September 19th, 2019, and these are your morning announcements. Woo, that's bright. My lands, the day star is bright today, but that is okay, because sunshine on my shoulder makes me happy. Anyway, so I had a great time in Miss Canadian Scrapper's room again last night. I'm sorry I couldn't stay for the whole thing, but every time I go there, I have so much fun. You guys are a blast. Oh my gosh, so silly. It's so nice to be surrounded with people who are just as silly as me, if not more so. I love that. That is joy to me. Oh, there's a half-naked man walking his chihuahua. That's special. That's a nice way to start off the day. So, I am still hearing tons of people talking about narcissism. It's just like, it's a topic that doesn't seem to want to go away. I see a lot of people blaming one another for being narcissists, and I'm just like, wow, where the hell did this all come from? This is YouTube, you guys. Have fun. Have fun. Leave that alone. You know, I think that every single person who is not a narcissist has had at least one narcissist in their life. Have we not? I think I have yet to meet somebody who hasn't had an experience with somebody who was a narcissist. You know, some were much, much harsher than others, but everybody's had it. And the thing about narcissists is, I think if you want to take a concept and put it into a nutshell, narcissists love to have emotional control over other people. That is their thing. They like to control you by controlling your emotions. So if you've got somebody in your life who is like that, I think you need to think about cutting them out. Now, in my case, all right, I've just cut a narcissist out of my life because it got to be ridiculous. The things coming out of this person's mouth were absolutely ridiculous. Absurdity, crazy absurdity, and this person would start off on one topic, attacking somebody, and as soon as that somebody else would say, hey, you know, are you sure about that? Because, you know, I'm not seeing that. As soon as their little bubble was burst, they would flip it and start talking about something else, and then talk about something else, and then come back to the topic later and try to be right, you know. And those are like typical narcissistic traits. You know, narcissists like to blame shift. So if you call them out on something, if you say, hey, you know, you made me feel bad when you said blah, 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 they blame shift. They blame shift and they throw it right back at you. They don't validate what you're saying. You've just burst their little grandiose bubble, you know, this grandiose view of themselves that they have. You've burst that bubble, and so they flip it back on you. And I have three narcissists in my life at the moment. One I've cut out of my life. Two I have not, for reasons I'm not going to get into, but at some point I will cut them off. One is almost cut off completely. Another one I have not cut off. I don't have the ability to do that at this moment. And this person is very young, so I'm kind of hoping that they're just going through a phase and they will, you know, get a clue, because there are narcissists out there who are they're people who are in self-preservation mode, okay? They've gone through something wicked in their childhood, or, you know, in their early development years that like had a strong impact on them. But by the time they reach adulthood and get into adulthood, they see what's going on with their lives, and they're able to, through introspection and honesty with themselves, they're able to rise above it and get away from it. And I'm starting to see tendencies in this one person to do that they might actually be able to self-correct, and they're very young, you know, so I kind of feel like my presence in their life has had a positive effect, so I haven't given up on them yet. The other person, fortunately, doesn't live anywhere near me anymore, so the contact is very, very, very limited, and I can just sort of handle it through the distance. Because one nice thing about having a narcissist in your life is when they're done with you, they're done with you. They just get out of your life and they move on to somebody else. And this person, for the most part, is done with me, done with having me be their toy to manipulate and control. So the fact that they're mostly gone is great. So hopefully just through time it'll just go away and that'll be the end of it. But for the most part though, that's something that they have to do on their own, and there's no amount of logic that you can discuss with a narcissist that's going to change them or help them see your point of view. They don't give a shit about your point of view. They don't care about you. They care about themselves. They have this grandiose idea about themselves. They see themselves as being smart and sophisticated and wise and worldly, and they think that everyone else around them is just dumb. And when they don't follow their way of thinking, they start calling people names like sheep, or if it's a group of people that this person was trying to persuade and these people don't fall in the line, they'll accuse them of being like, you know, in a gang or a cult, and call them ridiculous names and say ridiculous things about them. Because one of the tactics of a narcissist is mudslinging. Mudslinging is a huge tactic. When a narcissist loses control of a target victim, when they lose control of that target victim, what they do is they go out of their way to try to destroy the credibility of the target. And they start mudslinging. And they start accusing the target of mudslinging. And they start accusing the people who are around the target of mudslinging and of bullying and just being mean. That's their tactic. That's what they do. And they do that to try to form a new little army of their own. A new little army of people who are going to be against the target. And, you know, it isn't always clear that is the thing that the narcissist is doing. Especially if you've just met the narcissist. Narcissists love to sway your opinion of people that you don't even know. You may not have ever met the target before in your life. You may have never talked with them, saw them, know anything about them. They have no connection to you. But the narcissist is going to convince you that they're horrible, horrible people. They just want you to be their minion. And they're going to tell you all kinds of stuff to try to sway you into their way of thinking, because that's the most important thing to a narcissist. Outside of being able to control somebody emotionally, they need you to be a worshiper of them. And that happens to a lot of people who had like a love-hate relationship in their formative years. You know, like, let's say you had a parent who on one day says, I love you, you're so smart, you're so amazing, I'm so happy you're in my life. And the next day, they're like, you're so stupid, I wish you were never born. And then the next day, they're back to, I love you, you're so amazing. They were beat up as kids with this emotional roller coaster of confusion, and they go into self-protection mode, and all they want is to have stable love and stable loyalty in their life, and they end up becoming the person that they hated. And that happens a lot to abused kids, you know. It sucks. It sucks that there are parents out there who are like that. You know, so really the only thing that you can do when you have a narcissist in your life is cut them out, ignore them. You know, if they talk to you, you can say, you know, I'm sorry that you feel that way. If they accuse you of something, you can just say, I'm sorry that you feel that way. You're entitled to think what you want, and walk away. Just walk away. You don't need the narcissist to agree with you. They're not going to. That's not in their nature. They're not ever going to agree with you. They're not ever going to see your side of things. They may love bomb you. Love bombing is when you get into an argument. There's this thing called hurt and rescue. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that term before, hurt and rescue. It's when the narcissist says something to hurt you deeply, and then does something to try to rescue you from that hurt. And it usually involves love bombing, where they give you all kinds of attention and say all the right things and throw their arms around you. And in doing that, you might feel better emotionally towards the narcissist, but you end up feeling emotionally crappy about yourself, because it's a way of shifting the blame from them to you. With that, and they're very good at that. They're very crafty and subtle in their ways of doing that. But if you find that you're being hurt by somebody, by what they say about you, and then finding that they're offering up a solution to the problem that makes you feel like you were the one to blame for it, get away from that person. They're a freaking narcissist. They're just trying to control you. Here I'm getting on the freeway. You know, but the one thing that narcissists really, really want you not to know is that you know that they're a narcissist. They don't want you to know that. And sometimes you knowing that a person is a narcissist, you can use that to your advantage when dealing with them. So it isn't always the best idea to go screaming, "You're a narcissist," at them. Sometimes it's better to just keep that information inside of you and use that to find tactics to counteract their emotional abuse until you can get away from them, until you can get out of there. You deflate a narcissist when you don't react, because the reaction is what gives them their thrill. When they see you upset and crying and angry, inside their head they're thinking to themselves, look at me, I'm so powerful. I mean, maybe they're not thinking this on the surface, but subconsciously they're saying to themselves, look at what I can do to this person. Look at the power that I have over them. And you need to not react. Or give them a diffusing statement, like if they say something at you, like if they're like, you are so selfish, you know, your gut instinct is going to be to try to defend yourself. Diffuse it just by going, I'm sorry that you feel that way. You know, I hear what you're saying, and I'm sorry that you feel that way. And walk away. Stay calm. Stay collected. Stay in control of your emotions. You are in control of your emotions. You get to decide how you're going to react to something. That is on you. That is not on them. You own that. You own your emotions, right? And, you know, I can honestly say that there's many times where I don't practice my own advice here in this regard, because I am one of those people, it's part of my autism, where I need people to know and understand what it is that I'm trying to say. And if I feel like I'm not being heard, or I feel like they're not getting it, I have the tendency to just go on and go on and go on until I'm sure that they understand. I don't mean to do that, and I'm trying to get better at that, but that's something that I do. But unfortunately, narcissists do that too. You know, they will keep pounding you and pounding you and pounding you until you succumb to their way of thinking. And you just have to diffuse it by saying, I hear you. We're going to have to agree to disagree. Or I hear you. Thank you for sharing your opinion with me, and walk away. It's like the best way to diffuse a narcissist. You know, and I've been using that tactic for a long, long time with people. So, all right, I've talked about this enough, you guys. Oh, I rambled on for 17 minutes. I'm sorry about that, guys. But you guys have a great day. I love you. You know, embrace each other, love each other. I'm Little Wolf, and I'm signing out. Peace.